Hey friends, I'm Ken Smith, just an old guy having fun with trains, and boy am I having fun with it. And in today's video, we are going to build this. Now I'm really excited about this because this is probably the train station that appears on virtually almost everybody's layout at one point or another. It's probably the most built kit other than probably the Atlas train station. And I got to be honest with you, I'm really excited about this because there's a few little nuances that we did to elevate this without having to do a whole lot of structure and rebashing, or I mean, at that juncture you might as well just build one. So we'll get into that, but hey, before we do, if you haven't picked up your copy yet of A Life Spent Chasing Trains, I urge you to do so. This is a great pictorial book, over 260 photographs that I have captured, and you'll really enjoy it because it's a pictorial book and not so much just a book about railroads that you got to spend, you know, hours and hours reading. Not that that's bad, it's just, this is really just enjoyable to look at. So I'll throw a link down in the description. Let's go ahead, open up this kit, and see what's inside. I got this on eBay as a part of a lot collection, and this, as you can see, is kind of a battered up box and whatnot, but it looks like, from what I can gather, everything appears to be there. And some things look pretty good, other things look absolutely gross, like these sides right here. Not sure what we're going to do there, but it does look like all of the major components are there, which I'm grateful for, because you never know what's going to happen when you get you know, one of these kits, and if you're going to get all of the parts. But it does look like we do have all of the parts. And again, I'm kind of doing this with the camera kind of in front of me. So it does look like we have all of the parts, which is good. I was looking to see if the tower was there, which was unique for the station, and it does appear to be there. Actually, okay, there we go. Looks like we might be missing a side. That would be kind of a bummer. If that's the case, I might have to figure out something there, because I definitely don't see it. So I'll probably have to come up with something for that. That's kind of a bummer. Otherwise, everything else appears to be there. Yep, that does appear to be missing. So we'll do our best with what we got, try to come up with something for a side. Really interested to see how this kit is going to come together. It's always important to read the instructions before you even bother to begin. I don't care how simple the kit may seem. Take the time to actually read the instructions. If you notice, when we look at these instructions up close, not only the windows go on the outside, but so do the doors. You would think that the doors might actually be recessed, but they're not. And you'll see that later on when we go to assemble this. The instructions are pretty simple. They're pretty straightforward. With the exception of just one instruction sheet, everything is printed on one side. And you can see blank page there, but when we get to the last sheet, we have the final diagram. And you'll also notice that the Rico station signs are designed to be cut out of this instruction, and I'm not going to bother using that. Obviously, I'll probably end up just making my own sign, but that's the instructions. Pretty simple. So let's begin. As I suspected, I was missing the other side, so I had some roofing material from another TYCO kit, actually their freight station, and while the shingles aren't exactly the same, they're going to be close enough. So I ended up cutting another side, and I'll cut a hole for the window here, and it'll serve the purpose. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't think the average person is going to notice it. And so that's the plan. Another thing that I plan on doing with this kit is actually installing what used to be Grant Line. It's now San Juan Models Company. They bought the entire Grant Line product line, and so they make some really good, properly scaled detail parts like the eave trim and the gable trim and the roof trim. This is like so much better, proper scale and whatnot. This is going to be a huge improvement to this kit if I don't do another thing. So excited to use these parts. We're going to actually, when the time comes to start painting them and whatnot, I'll put them side by side so you can see what a difference they make. Now here is a side-by-side comparison of the San Juan detail parts that are not painted next to the TYCO kit parts that obviously are painted. And you can see there's a major difference just in how they look. If we get up a little bit closer, there's your roof eaves supports right there. This is the roof trim. This is like, this would be for like O scale, but it's just massively big and kind of looks very toyish, where this looks much more accurate, and I really think that that will help improve the roof lines. The gable trim actually isn't really too bad. This is obviously the factory TYCO kit, and this is the San Juan Details kit. Definitely going to use this, but I will probably hang on to this just to see if maybe I can use it in another kit, or some trim pieces. I'm not really too sure, but I'm definitely going to roll with that. And definitely, like the Grant Line parts, this is going to be a massive improvement if I don't do anything else to the kit. Everything is now painted. This is the paint scheme that I'm going with for the station body, and obviously black for the roof. I wanted to show you, this is the one I made with the extra roof material. This is the one next to it. Now it might be a little hard, but I'll try to zoom in. It's pretty close. The shingle material obviously is a little bigger than this side, but it's close, and I think that that's going to work. Like to hear your thoughts on it, but I think it'll work. And for you know, it is a plastic model, it is a TYCO kit, but I think just doing a couple of different detail parts is going to make this look really good. I've gone ahead and started trimming off a lot of the base. If you look closely here, you can really see where I've just kind of notched things out. Eventually, I won't have any of this section here at all. I'm only going to maintain and keep the ramp and the side right here. That's really all I want. Looking back at it, I probably wouldn't have even trimmed it. I probably would have just left everything alone and used it as a kind of an assembly jig. I did keep all of the points where things kind of square up. Because I thought, well, I might keep the steps. But the more I think about it, I think I just want a wooden platform that just goes all the way around the train station. So I'm just going to keep the elevated portion of the ramp. At this juncture, we now have all of the doors, windows, and the clear glazing glued in. One of the things I don't particularly care about this kit is that nothing, in regards to the doors, nothing seems to appear to be recessed. If we look at a door as an example a little up close, you'll notice that the door is actually glued to the outside wall. And it's the same for the doors here. They're glued to the outside wall, and they're quite obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the doors are grossly oversized and not to scale. And we could rip this model apart, and honestly, it's not worth ripping apart. It just really isn't. It's a nice little kit, and all we want to do is just do a few things to make it better. If we want to make it prototypically correct, we might as well just build one. And I'm not in the process or in the desire to do that at this juncture. I want something quick and get it on the layout and it looks good, because honestly, the quicker we can get a few buildings up and start doing the scenery, the better things will look like overall. And then we can always go back and start doing some of the fine detailing, some of the scratch building and kit bashing that I would really like to do in the long term. But for now, I just want to get a station up and in place so that we can have some fun running some trains. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I was going to use this as a jig to set things up, but that actually didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. So I ended up just cutting this thing off altogether. And then I did some washes, painted this a base gray, just kind of a gray stone, painted this a flat tan, and then I just did some light acrylic washes to just kind of dirty things up, give it a little bit more detail that you can see right there, really get that grain to pop. And what I plan on doing is using this along with a wooden platform that I'm going to make all the way around and kind of custom fit that into the area that I plan on putting it. All right, so now you can see how we have the base all the way around. You can see that that wash really brought in the stone detail. That looks really nice. I'm gonna move it around. And so you can take a look at it from this angle. Really like how that came out. And our plan, now that we have nothing else really kind of holding this all together other than the body itself, our plan is to eventually have a deck or platform that just kind of goes all the way around, a little wider platform, and kind of a wooden platform. Probably going to do that one out of styrene, to be honest with you, because again, sitting in a shed, it obviously is not climate controlled and whatnot. So that's our plan. But I do like the paint scheme. I think that came out really nice. We're going to go ahead and start working on the roof next. All right, we now have the roof installed, and I haven't installed the chimneys yet. But one thing is for sure, I'm not using that chimney. It's actually a ridiculous looking chimney. I did find something in my old spare parts bin that I think I might end up just using. But overall, it's looking really good. I really like how it has come out. And next up, like I said, we're going to put on the chimneys. We're also going to be installing the Grant line, or the former Grant line, now the San Juan detail line. detail parts that are replacing these ridiculous looking parts that come with the kit, and I think that that's going to really help improve the overall aesthetics of the kit. Okay, so I've obviously finished the base, and now it was time to kind of do a platform. And initially I thought about doing a platform all the way around the train station, but I kind of opted to do something a little bit different. So the platform is actually going to look like that. And I'm happy with that. I think that that's actually a better decision. Kind of makes more sense from an aesthetic standpoint. So what I did was I just got a piece of wood at my local hobby town, USA hobby shop, along with some plastic. And mind you, initially I would have loved to have actually made this out of wood, but the reality is it's just not readily available by me. And I mean, it's not, Hobbytown is the only hobby shop that I even have within an hour's drive. And I didn't want to do mail order. And I wanted to show also that, you know, hey, this can, I mean, it's a plastic kit, so it can still look good even if I use some styrene. And so that's exactly what I ended up doing. I painted this kind of a beige to give it a base coat, and then I just did some washes. And I like how it came out. I think overall it's a nice look. And of course the train station is going to fill this area here, so you're really only going to see this portion about 1.25 inches all the way around the train station. I'll put a link down in the description for the materials that I used and the detail parts that I used. So it's now time to check on the main building, because we glued the roof on, and that should be dry while that was drying. We painted the roof and then glued it on, and then that was all drying while we worked on this. So now it's kind of time to bring everything together. We've gone ahead and done a combination of washes and some weathering chalks. And so you're looking straight down on the top of the building, and we're going to try and take you around it. Here's the front, and I'll try to point out some things. You can see that using washes really brings out the lines in the clapboard siding, as well as the wainscot siding. We also kind of did a little bit of a faded peeled paint here on the doors, just to kind of give it a nice little weathering look. The thing, a couple of things I'd like to point out. Okay, for starters, you can see what a difference that trim makes. Now that's the San Juan Details Rico Station trim. The kit calls for something that would actually almost be G-scale appropriate. That's how big it was. We didn't put the goofy little knob that's supposed to sit on the top, nor do we use any of the chimneys. So the chimneys that I used here are also Grant Line, or now San Juan Details. I'll put a link in the description for all of the parts that I've used. If we get down here, I might actually have to tip the building up a little bit so that you can see it. You know what? Let me actually flip it like this, and I think that'll be easier. Then I'll use the little pointing tool. Do you see the roof supports right here? Those are San Juan Detail parts that we used. And they call for these really ugly looking ones that came with the kit. There's only 4. One's supposed to go here. The other one is supposed to go on the other end. And you can see that we actually added roof supports all the way around. And that really makes a huge difference. The other thing too is we use the Grant line, or again, San Juan Details now, Rico Station trim instead of what came with the package. Now, I realize this is a plastic kit. It's a cheap plastic kit on top of that. But you can see with just a few detail parts how this has really come into play. Now, remember I said earlier that there was a part actually missing, and it was actually this side. But I had some leftover freight material, or leftover roofing material from the TYCO freight station. And you can see where, while it's not an exact match, it's so doggone close you really can't tell. All I did was just kind of hold it up, and I think the average person is never going to really notice that these are actually two different shingles, unless you're a rivet counter, and well, that's a real issue just looking at this kit if you're a rivet counter. Let's take a look at the back side now. I'll turn this around, and you can see some of the same details. Again, notice the roof supports. What a difference this just really makes. And then again, just the light washes that we added just really helps to accent all of the details. Now let's see what the whole thing looks like together. First, we're going to go ahead and give you the bird's eye view with the platform. So that's what it looks like with the additional platform that we added. And as we come down, you can kind of see how it looks like that. And really enjoy how this came together. Again, just trying to move the camera around. I'm trying to hold it steady, but you know, I'm moving the camera. So eventually what we're going to do, because obviously you can see through from one side to the other, is we're probably going to put a small piece of board on the inside just to kind of block light from one end to the other. And again, that's just with the platform. I'm quite impressed with how this came out. Not trying to toot my own horn, but for a 45-year-old kit, having to make a couple of parts and just adding a few detail parts, I say winner, winner, chicken dinner. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a wonderful day, and you all be blessed.